Bending over, two guys behind me. Best position you can be in.
Got a nice booty.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, bike-loving creatures, better known as cycling fanatics. It's a little bit over 5 o'clock in the morning. I slept until about 4:15, so I get to sleep in a little bit this morning. Trying to figure out what I'm gonna do today. I've got a lot of time. The race is not gonna be until 2 o'clock. I've got these tubular wheels that I want to test in the bike, just for a little spin on the parking lot. I'm not gonna ride them all the way to Manhattan because the chance of getting a flat on the tubes, it's not a big chance, but if I get a flat, I can't ride them anymore. The tubes, you can't replace them on the spot. So these are the wheels that I'm gonna be riding. I'm just gonna put them in the bike, adjust the brakes, and then go for a little spin on the parking lot to see if everything works. Connect the power meter, and then that's it. The race is at 2 o'clock, so about 12:30 I'm gonna be riding to Manhattan on the other wheels, taking these wheels in the bag, and then before the race I'll swap them over, and then it's hammer time.
Later.
It's about 15 minutes past 1. The race is gonna start in 45 minutes. I'm approaching Manhattan Beach Pier at the moment. The center of the known universe. That's where the race is. Sunday afternoon. It's very, very busy. I'm headed out to the Manhattan Beach Grand Prix. This is supposed to be the biggest race of the year. I've got those tubular wheels in the wheel bag. It's not the easiest way of transportation because I'm on the bike, but it's doable. It's okay. It's pretty warm, already about 25 degrees and over. I'm using this little spin to Manhattan as my warm-up. I don't really know what to expect from this race. Last few years there were pro teams from USA flying into Los Angeles to ride this race. The prize money is $8,000, so that's a lot. So I'm expecting a lot of very good riders. I'm very excited about something else because I've got family from Phoenix, Arizona. Came over to Los Angeles to watch me race, so I'm gonna meet them. It's been a while that I've seen them, and they're gonna be cheering me on. Fingers crossed. Approaching the race course right now. I've been here yesterday to check it out. This part of the road is already closed down for traffic. All these riders are getting ready for the race. I'm gonna drop my stuff off at the big orange tent, get my number, do some more warm-up, switch my wheels, and then it's on. Neutral wheel fit from Shimano. I'm gonna
Jasper.
Got to get to the registration to get my number. I just crossed the course to the other side of the street, but it's on the other side, so I have to cross it again.
Once again, it might be because you left your sunglasses in.
Found the team tent, getting my number pinned up by Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. It's half an hour to the start of the race. Ladies are still going. Guys, what do you think of the race?
We put 3 guys in the top 10 in the threes.
Oh,
I
good.
took a 6th.
Nice.
Steinhoffel with the 3rd, and
Did you put
Graham
one in the
with
middle
second.
there?
All right. So you think there's gonna be a break in the pro?
No.
No.
No?
It's gonna be too
Too many
fast.
teams to.
Yeah, it's gonna be too fast.
Too many fast guys.
Silence team is here, KHS is here, and then
Yeah, these are Continental Pro teams.
Continental pro teams.
they're gonna be.
Filling up my drinking bottles. There's a couple big teams here, KHS. We've got the Williams brothers, and then some other teams. So expectations are there's not going to be a breakaway because these teams will control the race. So I'll try not to waste energy chasing any break. I'm gonna stay in the pack and then explode when it's needed. 15 minutes to the race. Sun's out, guns out. That's it. And next thing you're gonna see is the race footage.
Later.
Alright, that's the whistle, the start of the race. This is race footage from my buddy Bader. I hear you think, he lost his race footage and I'm looking at the race right now. You're right, it's not my camera, this is on Bader's bike. And he recorded
almost the whole race. So we're gonna have a look at this race from his perspective, and you'll actually see me riding around quite a few times. So we just started, there was one 180-degree turn, and here you already see me, the orange kit and the yellow socks, riding on the spark wheels, right in front of Beta right now. Here we're going uphill, up north. This race had 2 long straightaways and 2 180-degree turns, and there were some rolling hills in between. So here we're going up, everybody has to push a little bit on the pedals to keep the speed up high, and we're approaching the highest point of the racetrack right now. This is still the first lap, so we're getting up to speed, everybody's finding his position, and here we are rolling down, and because we're in the peloton, so you can pretty much hold your legs still, you don't have to push that hard, it's just easy pedaling to stay with the guys in front of you. Just hold that wheel and you'll be alright. Alright, so here we're coming up to that second turn. After this turn, again, it's going to be one long straightaway with a lot of downhill to the finish. This turn was a bit tricky. It had some ups and downs in the turns, some splits in the asphalt and the concrete, but still nobody crashed there, went through that turn fine every time. After the turn, a little kicker here, a little lip up, a couple meters up, and then this was pretty much all downhill. So I disappeared a little bit. I'm a couple wheels in front of Beta right now, and here you can see again, you can almost hold your legs still and you can still stay up with the rest. This was actually a headwind section, so on the other part we had a tailwind very fast, and here we had a headwind slightly from the right, so a lot of people was trying to get on the left side of the rider in front of them, just to stay out of the wind as much as they can. And here Beta moved all the way up front. These guys are the first riders in the peloton, and since it's the first lap, everything is still together. Coming up to the start finishing here, you see the signs on the left top with the meters to go. It says something like 200, 150 meters, and then here is the finish, and that was the first lap of the race. Skipping through the footage a little bit, here I am again. Beta is right there on my tail, pushing up that little kicker here after that first turn, and important was always to stay in the wheel of the guy in front of you. Downhill, just coasting and staying in the pack. Alright, we're moving all the way until the end of the race. We have about 5.5 laps to go, and I'm already shaking my legs. I was having some cramps again. This is really seems to it really seems to haunt me the last time. Every race I'm starting to have cramps at about 1 hour into the race, and it was the same at this race. So I'm trying to hydrate as much as I can, drink enough, get my food in order, and then still I'm having these cramps. So it's really hard pushing a lot of power when you're already feeling cramps coming up. Approaching that finish again. 50 meters. I am looking around to see what's left of the peloton. Where's the good riders? Where are those fast guys? Because I want to know if we're gonna catch that breakaway. At this point, there's a breakaway with KHS, a very fast team, and they managed to ride away from the group, and we have about 5 laps left, and I was not gonna close that gap by myself, so I was gonna stay in the pack and hoping that other teams would do a lot of work to get the gap closed. This turn was very different from the inside than from the outside, so during the race I took it on a couple different ways to see what was the fastest way. Both ways were fast, but taking it from the inside gives you more control of your line coming out of the turn, so I was just giving it a couple different tries to know what's best if it would be necessary in that last couple laps. Here again, headwind, so
trying to stay behind the guy in front of you. As you can see, the peloton is stretched out a bit, and I'm trying to stay behind the guy in front of me as much as I can, so we're drafting and not spending too much energy. Coming to that start finish again, it gets a bit crowded here, squeezing through that gap, just because if you don't, you're gonna lose a lot of places. This was 5 laps to go, so at this point everybody starts to go a little bit faster, and at the moment you let go of the gas, people will just go in that gap straight away. So it's very important to stay in the wheel in front of you, and every time you have the chance to move up a couple places, you should do it, because other guys will do it on you. So before you know it, in a blink of an eye and you're back in place 50. So this was a part where I started moving up a bit. 5 laps to go is not a lot. I don't want to be all the way in front, but I definitely don't want to be so far in the back. Through that turn again on the inside, and the inside was still quite fast. It gives you some space, some control over your line, and you'll end up on the left side, which was better because the wind was coming from the right. So right here I'm in a nice place for some drafting, and just wanted to move up a little bit. So I look over my shoulder on the left, there's nobody there, so I can move up, go in that hole, squeeze through in between the curb and the other riders. Bader here is trying to follow me. Oops, almost kissed the fence, but he managed to go around pretty easy, and he's back in my wheel. "25 seconds, that was the gap with the breakaway. 4 laps to go, 25-second gap. Was some big teams. I was still not really hoping, but I was actually expecting the other teams to close that gap. And by experience, I knew that if I would go in front, do all the work, they would just follow me, and I would be exhausted by the end. The finish was there, so I was just not gonna do that. I was saving energy and then save whatever's left for that field sprint. Here you can see it gets a little bit more crowded. Everybody's trying to move up, so as soon as there's a chance, the whole peloton widens up, people start to ride to the front of the race, and I'm still shaking those legs because I am having cramps. Well, Bader's footage doesn't go any further than this, so at least you had the chance to have a look at the race, and we're gonna jump back at my footage right after I finished.
I just finished the race, and I've got some bad news. I lost the GoPro during the race, at least after an hour and 15 minutes, because I still saw it on the bike. Afterwards it got very hectic and I didn't pay attention if it was on the bike or not, but after the finish I didn't see it anymore. It broke off again. I was in the field sprint. It was freaking hectic. Everybody was swerving left and right. I was moving my way in between, going full gas. I don't know how much I ended up, but I'm gonna check it. But unfortunately I cannot show you the race footage. It's gone. I made a shout out on the speaker asking if people have seen it. So right now I'm asking, like, all my viewers, if you see my GoPro, please shoot me a message, because I really want to have this footage, and of course I want the camera back. I went for another lap on the course, but I didn't find it. I'm so bummed. Really bummed. Alright, going to the results. See what happened, what I ended up.
Here we go.
Not bad.
10th place.
Get initial.
Yes.
Look at the big thing about all these dope greens. No one heard.
I heard him.
Excellent.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you. Thanks. So I finished 10th. That's pretty good. I wanted to do in the prizes, which was top 20, so I'm pretty satisfied. I got 270 bucks. Woohoo! As I'm riding back from Manhattan Beach, I'm just so bummed. I've contacted GoPro about this before because it happened to me a couple times already, and they just don't seem to get it. They sent me a new handlebar mount, which is not the problem. It's the attachment between the mount and the GoPro itself. This thing right here, you see it's broken. These cameras are built for action sports, right? They're built to be mounted on sports cars, bikes, motorcycles, bungee jumping, whatever. And I mounted it on my bike, on my bicycle handlebar, and it just keeps breaking. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you how it went. I didn't know if there was gonna be a breakaway or not, because there were so many teams and this track was not too difficult. I thought it would be coming to a field sprint like the LA circuit race I've been doing a while ago, but after an hour there was a breakaway with Corey Williams and a couple of his riders, and then the gap got pretty big. But since there were still some strong teams and some strong riders in the peloton, I figured we were gonna catch that break before the finish. So I didn't want to spend too much energy in the front. I just stayed in the back of the peloton and coasting. At the end, we didn't catch the break, and it turned out to be a field sprint behind that break. So 5 guys got in the breakaway, and then I went for the field sprint, which was totally hectic. It was crazy. Guys were bumping into each other, elbow to elbow, swerving left and right, and I was trying to sprint, but it was more like an intermittent off and on sprint to get around everybody. And anyway, overall I finished 10th place, being the biggest race of the year in this area, and so many really good riders riding out here today. 10th place is pretty good, and I'm gonna leave it to that. See ya!